back to Katrina's Creations Crafting Podcast. This is episode 119. If you can believe it, it's hard to believe, but it is. It's episode 119. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back each and every week. And if you're new to this channel, thank you for stopping by. And please click the subscribe button right down below there. And if you click the little icon next to it that looks like a bell, that will let you know anytime I post a video, which is always on Saturdays and sometimes other days during the week. So let's get on with the good stuff. First off, I do want to thank you for all of your wonderful comments in the giveaway that I have going. The prompt that I had was to tell me what segments you liked of the podcast. And that kind of helped me to focus a little bit more on what you do like or maybe what you don't like. So thank you for all of your input. It seems like a good majority, including myself, enjoy the show and tell. I love seeing what everybody else has made. It inspires me and it enables me. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. So anyway, yes, it was overwhelming that everybody enjoys the show and tell section and they enjoy the sales section. Who doesn't enjoy a good sales? And I have some really exciting news when it comes to the sales section this week. So let's get started with my works in progress. I have no finished objects this week. Now, I will start with my crochet project. I feel like it's a little amigurumi doll that I'm making. It's the first crocheted like stuffed animal or stuffed creature. It's a person. It's a little doll that I've ever made. Some of you have made this pattern before. It is the Mini Me doll, and here's some pictures of it. It is a free pattern over on Ravelry. So, yeah, I feel like I should play like the music from Psycho when I show this because I crocheted a shrunken head. Yeah, I started making this and I looked over at Dave and I said, "Oh no, it looks like a shrunken head." It's it's coming along. Her hair kind of looks like a cross between I don't know, spaghetti and Medusa. I'm not sure, but anyway, there it is. This is some of the yarn that I got from Hobium Yarn that I got in that order. It's some of that. It's the yellow cotton because this is a color I don't wear well. As you can see, this color yellow is not. It's just not good for me. It makes my skin look yellow. Here's her face, and her eyeballs are a little wonky. I'm not sure what's going on with the pupils of one eye. These are the safety eyes, but for some reason this eye is bugged out a little more than the other one is. And if you can see up close, one of the pupils is slightly a little bit bigger. So if you remember, like Marty Feldman, yes, this is Martina Feldman, I guess. Yeah, anyway, there she is. I did put eyebrows. I don't think the original had eyebrows on her, and she has the original has a little like crooked smile, but I wanted a normal smile. And then I had this wild idea. I was like, what am I going to do with this when I finish? But I have my youngest granddaughter. She is 7. She will be 8 in September. But in the beginning of May, she is having her first ballet recital. And I thought, I'm going to do the doll so it looks like a ballerina. And we're hoping to go out to see the ballet recital. They live out in Ohio, so that's about 7 hours away. But we're hoping to go out and see it. And I thought, how fun would it be to make a little doll? And my granddaughter has blonde hair. She has blue eyes. This one has brown. But well, anyway, I thought it would just be really cute to be able to give her a ballerina doll to commemorate her first ballet recital. So, yeah. So that's what I'm making. But the ballerina's costume is not going to be pink because the doll's face is peach. And she would either clash or look like a naked ballerina, which would be really bad. It's funny, years ago, I was knitting Barbie doll clothes. And I was at work, and we were doing a 4-H fair. And so we were sitting there all afternoon waiting for people to walk by our booth. So in between people walking by, I was sitting there knitting Barbie dolls or knitting clothes for the Barbie doll. And sitting in my yarn bag was a naked Barbie doll, so I could try the clothes on to see how big they were fitting or how loose they were fitting. And it's like somebody would walk by and have to stuff the Barbie doll down really, quick because, you can't see a naked Barbie doll. But anyway, totally digressing and derailed the entire conversation just now. But the rest of the outfit, that's how I got off on that subject. I was not going to make a pink ballerina costume. So instead, I thought, well, what can I use that's going to look cool? And I found this in a drawer. I have no clue where it came from. It's like a mint green. It's really old yarn. I mean, the label. I didn't buy this. Somebody gave it to me. It says Natural DuPont Acrylic. I don't even know if they make this stuff anymore. The color is called Mint Julep. Well, this has to be old. The yarn is priced at 79 cents. So it's antique yarn. But I'm going to combine it with this, which is really sparkly. It's a black thread, but it's got this little, long, let's see if I can hold it up. Yeah, there you can see strands of a tinsel type of stuff that's sparkly, and some of it is green, some of it's purple. So I think if I hold two together like that and crochet them, this will kind of poof it up a little bit, like where the tutu is. So, and this will do the rest of the little outfit. So I think that might do it. Although when I look at these yarns together, I'm thinking this is going to be too chunky. Because look at that. So this might not get used. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure. Not sure. Anyway, that's the thought. But I am going to use this sparkly stuff because it's sparkly. It's like I think I got this at my local yarn shop. It was sitting on her for sale, or her sale table where she does her clearance stuff. And I saw it and just thought, I don't know what I use it for, but somewhere down the line, I'll use it for something. And I thought it would be perfect for a poofy, sparkly looking ballerina costume. So that is project number 1. Next week, we will hopefully not have a crocheted shrunken head. Project number 2 is the basket wave shawl that I am designing. The second one is coming along so much better than the first one did. This is where I was at last week. I've made a lot of progress on this one. You can see that's where I was last week. And I have actually knit all the way up through the remainder of this stripe, gone through the white, through another section of blue, through white, and I'm getting ready for the third color. This yarn is from Sweet Georgia. It's a mini sock set. It's called Tough Love Sock. And so the first color here, this one here, this is called Sapphire. And they look like they're solid colors, but where I can see them, they're kind of tonal, and they've got some depth to the color. There's some deeper colors in there. So it's not like a solid sapphire, but it's really pretty blue. So this is Sapphire, and this is, of course, just plain white. And this was called Bluebird. And this one, here so you can see a comparison, it's just slightly lighter. In the picture, it looks like it's not much lighter, but it really is a good bit lighter than the other two. And this one is called Breeze. So that's going to be the third color. The other two, I have this much left. It's roughly, I think I measured it out to about 12 grams each. So these are going to be set aside for a yarn advent calendar swap that I am doing with Karen from SSK Yarners podcast. So these two, as I finish these are going to get set aside to put into that yarn advent calendar. So this first pattern, these are all variations of like a basket weave or a seed stitch. So each one of these patterns, well, you can see them a little bit here. Each one is just slightly different. And it is a short row, so one side is very narrow. There, you can see it there. And then the other side of the shawl is wide. And I had 3 more sections of the blue. So when I hold it back here, you can kind of get the full effect. This is why I'm calling it basket wave, because the blue sections are variations of basket weave stitches, and the shape reminds me of a wave. And I think the shape is working much, much better this time compared to the last time when it looked like a blimp. It leveled out too fast. This one, the angle actually is definitely going to be more wedge shaped. So I'm real happy with how that's going. So that's project number 2. Project number 3 is my flax light sweater. Yeah. For those of you, I don't remember if I shared this with you last week. I'm trying to just realize when I discovered that there was a major problem. Well, I actually didn't discover it. Diane pointed it out and said, I'm making the flax light too, and my sleeves don't look like your sleeves. And then I read the pattern and realized there was a line of the pattern I didn't read. So, yeah, let me show you where the error is. I'm not changing it at this point because I actually kind of like it. And I'm not just saying that, but I do kind of like it the way it's turning out. We're calling it a design element. But here is the sweater. It is knit from the top down. So here you can see the collar, and here's the body. And these portions here are the separations for the sleeves. Now I'm going to hold it up close. I've done the sleeve entirely in garter, because here you can see this is the front or back, and it's in stockinette. But you can see that there's a lot more texture here and squishiness. This is garter stitch. And there are the sleeve increases along the sides. The pattern was only actually supposed to have this garter section down the center portion of the sleeve, not the entire sleeve. Yeah, even experienced knitters make simple mistakes, and this was one of them. But for me to go back and fix this, I would literally have to rip out this entire sleeve all the way back up and try to fix the stitches, which wouldn't be normally overly hard. I could just drop them down and pick them back up, except that I have diagonal increases going on. So if I'm going down through the center here, I've got to, the center portion would stay as garter stitch, but all this would have to be changed over to stockinette. And when you get into increases along the side here, it's real easy to drop those increases by accident, and then you've got a hole in it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm perfectly happy with the way it looks. We're just going to leave it the way it is. So that's what it's going to look like. Let me show you where I've gotten this week. Last week, you can see I had just separated for the sleeves. You can see it right here. There's my little, this is a little ho-ho, which in the UK, or in the US, a ho-ho is, it's like a little devil's food cake roll. It's like chocolate with white cream, and they roll it up like a jelly roll. It's called a ho-ho. It's a company named Hostess that makes them. Anyway, that's what it was supposed to have been when I made this. It was supposed to be a cinnamon roll with white icing on top, but it didn't turn out because my brown ended up too dark. So it became a ho-ho. So that's my ho-ho. Anyway, it is from here down. So you can see this is my round marker. So once I go all the way around, I know that I have gone completely around the body of the sweater when I run into this stitch marker. And I think I am at, it's about 300 stitches to go all the way around, because it's 88 stitches separated on the arms on each side. And it was like 454. I should do the math. That doesn't add up. I forget. I'll put it down here how many stitches around it is at this point. So, yeah, but I really like it. I love the way it is looking. I love these pops of the turquoisey teal. So you can see it in here. I really, really like that. There's more on this side that are a little bit deeper so you can see it more. So you can see it looks blue, but it's actually kind of a foresty green. It's a green blue. It's beautiful. And the two yarns that I am using, one is a hand-dyed skein. Not that I hand-dyed it. I got it at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. That is this color here. Kind of reminds me of toffee. And then it's got these little pops of the blue inside it. You can see some right there. So I'm going to open it up. There you can see it. And then the solid color is some Hobium yarn. And this thing is so soft. I'm going to look so forward to wearing this. It's just soft and cozy, and yeah, I really like this. And it's a nice pattern. I think you could take this pattern, the basics of it, and adapt it to do a lot of things, because you don't need to do the body of it. Just stock it in. You could do some fancier stitches with it. It is a free pattern. It's by Tin Can Knits. It's called Flax Light. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. And I'm having fun with it. It's kind of my mindless knitting, because at this point I'm just going around and around and around and around. So it's very simple. And then my last project, last week I had mentioned that Dave asked me to actually knit him something, and I've never knitted anything for Dave before because Dave hasn't wanted anything knitted. So he mentioned he would like to have a scarf. So I was like super excited. So I didn't know when I filmed last week whether I was going to make a cowl or a scarf for him. I did know I was going to do it in, it's called Audine Wools. It was a knit crate yarn that I got a few months ago called Mouse, and it's gray. So I ran across this pattern. He is getting a scarf. He said he didn't want a cowl because he didn't want something he had to put over his head. He wanted something he could just wrap around. So I found this pattern on Ravelry. It's called the Cirrus Scarf. This was a free pattern, and here you can see it. And it's funny, the pattern picture here is almost identical in color. And the variations, the tonal colors, that's the one I'm knitting. And this is, it's by Hilary Smith Callis, or Calais, I think it's Callis. So, what it is the linen stitch, and you knit lengthwise. So it's 355 stitches long. You're knitting the length of the scarf. So let me show you how far I've gotten. Like I said, it doesn't look like much, except that you realize that I am knitting 355 stitches each row. So here it is. And like I said, this is called the linen stitch. I'll try to get it close. The linen stitch is slipped stitches. You knit one and slip the next stitch either to the front or the back. So it forms a pattern that looks very much like it's woven. So it's very simple. I tried to talk him into cables or something. He's not a frou-frou-y person. He wants very plain and simple. So that's what we went with, was the linen stitch. This is so extremely soft. I mean, I believe it had Angora in it. I'm not sure. Or alpaca. Maybe not Angora. I think it has alpaca in it. It has something extremely soft, because this side where it is so smooth, it's got a nice halo here where it's fuzzy. You can see the fuzz sticking up. The temptation to keep it for myself. But I won't be a selfish knitter. He will get this, but it's going to feel so good around your neck. Now the back of this does not have, it's more bumpy textured, as you can see. It looks like the back of a weaving. You can see the under and over stitches. I'm checking the monitor to make sure it shows up, but you can see the under and over stitches here. But that's the front side. And this is tonal, so there are some sections that are dark gray, some sections that are light gray. But it's a really, really simple pattern. He's not going to get it for, this winter probably, because it's, I believe, 7 1/4 inches wide, and I only have maybe 1 1/4 inches done. We're expecting snow this weekend. It's not going to be ready. Yeah. But anyway, I'm real pleased with it. So that is my final project that I'm working on. Now, I did want to do a short little talk about knitting needles. Just a simple explanation. If you're not familiar with knitting and you're basically a crocheter, I did have somebody ask a question earlier this week. They were looking for knitting needles, and I actually directed them. It was Pam, and I actually directed her to the needles that I use all the time, which I got off of eBay. They came in a set of, I think, 11 sets of needles, and it was under $10. I forget. I sent her the link. But anyway, I knit on circular needles all the time, even if I'm knitting in the round, or if I'm knitting straight. For instance, this shawl is knitted, it's knitted flat. I'm not knitting all the way in a circle like I am with my sweater. I'm just knitting I knit one side and I turn it over just as if I was using 2 needles. But why I use circulars all the time, that's what I thought I would talk about. If you can see here, if I'm knitting something like this, the weight of the project itself is here in the center. It's not on my wrists. It's not on the needles themselves. If you are knitting, I don't have any of the really long needles anymore. These are the longest knitting needles that I have. And they're, I think, 9 or 10 inch ones. Your standard knitting needles are probably about this much longer for the straight needles. But when you're knitting with those, all of the weight of your project is carried on the needle itself. So if you're knitting, especially something big, like say a sweater or an afghan or even a scarf, all of the weight is being carried on those needles, which means you're holding the weight of it up in your wrists and your fingers the whole time you're knitting. Especially when you let go to wrap the yarn, you're really putting a lot of strain on the wrists. So as a result, I do still have some straight needles. I use them for like my little cozy memory blanket, where I'm knitting a 2-inch square. I use them if I was knitting a dishcloth, something small, then I would use them. But otherwise, I use the circular needles all the time, no matter what I'm knitting on. And these, like I said, are cheap needles I got off of eBay. There was a set. They started at real tiny needles, and I think they go up to about a US 6. So they don't have them in the really bigger, chunkier sizes. But I like the joins on them. I like the cables on them. They're super cheap. I tend to be a metal needle person. I have wooden needles. I use them occasionally, especially if I'm using yarn that is slippery or slick. It doesn't come off. It doesn't slide off the needles as easy. Whereas if you're using metal needles and you're knitting something that's slick, they tend to slide off a little too easy. So anyway, just a little sidebar on different knitting needles and why I use what I do. Just in case you were wondering. So now it's time to see what you all are making. Now, last week, you will remember I showed Pamela Phillips' fractal doily. and that I had kind of fallen in love with the thing because I just think it's a neat twist on a traditional doily. It just looks like somebody twisted it 2 different directions, and it looks modern. And I thought it would be kind of fun to try. So a few other people thought it would be fun to try too. So Yoka and I have been talking, and we are both going to make it. We both already bought the pattern. It is, the version that we bought is a paid-for pattern. Anyway, we are looking at starting at probably, I'm thinking the beginning of March. I want to get my little amigurumi doll done first. So I'm going to finish that. So I'm looking around the first week of March. I'm going to get it started. And Yoka's going to make it as well. And if you want to join us and make it, you could. If you're not a crocheter or you don't want to have to buy a pattern, we're going to do a doily along. I don't even know how you would say, I guess a D-A-L. If you knit or crochet, you can participate because we aren't real picky. You can just do a doily. You can knit or crochet a doily of your choice. Those of us who are doing the fractal, if you want to join us, you are more than welcome to join us to do the fractal. Otherwise, you can do a doily. Like I said, whatever you would like to do, long as it's a doily. So that will start the first week of March and will run until the end of April. So that'll give us 2 months. That should be hopefully enough time. So that is what the plan is. Not sure if we're going to do a giveaway. I'm thinking I will do a giveaway with it, but I'm not sure what the prize will be. I'm still figuring out. So prize to be announced. But anyway, we are going to have the doily along. Now let's get on to my acquisitions. I have only one. I had ordered, Knit Crate was having a 60% off sale offered to its members, those of us who get yarn subscriptions from them. And so I got $26 yarn. I paid $12 for it, and it was only $2 and something for the shipping. So it is Vitalana. The color is called Tapenade or Tapenade, and that's pretty true to color. It's gorgeous. It's all different shades of tonal green. I love this. It's extremely soft. It is 329 yards or 30 meters. It is 70% superwash merino wool, 20% silk, 10% cashmere. That's why it's so soft. I have no clue what I'm doing with this, but it's going to be something around my neck because it is so very, very soft. So that was what I bought. And this is yarn that is dyed by the Knit Crate company. They're like their artisan sock crates and things are hand dyed. They actually hire like subcontract, I guess, with a hand dyer to dye the yarns. But like the stuff that was in the regular sock crate or in their members box is actually yarn that is dyed in-house by Knit Crate itself. So it is, like I said, absolutely gorgeous. And it's I believe it's a sock weight. Sport weight. Sport and sock weight are very, very similar. Anyway, it's a sport weight yarn. But it's gorgeous. So I've been into a lot of greens lately, like that forest green. Yeah. So let's talk about some upcoming videos. This Wednesday, someone asked me a few weeks ago, how do you knit 2 socks at once? So I'm going to demonstrate knitting 2 socks at once. The yarn I'm going to do this with is Online. This is a German yarn. It's called Super Sock, and the color is called Mambo color. It's really pretty. Look at that. And again, there is that blue, that kind of bluish green that I seem to be really attracted to lately. This is sock weight yarn. It is 75% virgin wool, 25% polyamide, which is like an acrylic. But look at the colors in that. Is that gorgeous? So I am going to knit 2 pairs of socks, or well, 1 pair of socks, 2 socks at once. and show you how to do it. I do it on the magic loop method. So, yeah, stay tuned Wednesday to see how to knit 2 socks at once. Now it's time for our Now, I mentioned earlier in the podcast that I had really exciting news in our sales section. The really exciting news is I now am an affiliate of another company. And it's one everybody that knits or crochets has heard about before. Leisure Arts. Yes. If you have knitted or crocheted for any length of time, you've heard about the company called Leisure Arts. They do all kinds of patterns and have for years. They've been around forever. I remember them when I was a kid. I remember seeing things with Leisure Arts. I've got some old flyers with patterns in them from probably the 70s or 80s. So yeah, they've been around for years and years and years. And they are offering a special. The link to all of these sales are down below. If you click on the link, it will take you right to that yarn company or craft company, whichever one you're interested in. But anyway, Leisure Arts has offered 15% off of your order. But you do need to use a coupon code. You need to use the coupon code ART15. Okay, I will put it here somewhere. It's capital letters, ART15, to get the 15% off. They have knit and crochet patterns. They also have knit and crochet books. They have coloring books for adults. They have cross-stitch pattern books. They have beading. They have macrame. Yeah, they've got tons of stuff. You name it, they've got a book for it. So, like I said, Leisure Arts has been around for years. So it's definitely worth checking out, and it's 15% off your entire order right now. So that was exciting to me. Annie's is still hosting their big giveaway for over $2,500 in crafting materials. That runs until the end of this month, which is February 2019. In order to enter, you do have to be a resident of the U.S. or Canada, excluding Quebec. So it is kind of limited, but anyway, they are running the giveaway. So you can click on the link down below. It'll take you over to Annie's. If you have problems finding the giveaway itself, it's a little hard to find. If you can't find it, I will put a little I link over here, and you can click that, and it's a tutorial to take care of entering. So we have that going on right now. They also are offering several of their yarns over in their clearance section for $3.99. They have Deborah Norvell Serenity Garden and Premier Aurora yarns right now for $3.99. They also have some other good sales too, but those were two I picked up on. Bluprint, which used to be Craftsy, is offering up to 60% off of their kits and the supplies for those kits. Consumer Crafts has over in their clearance section, they carry a ton of different brands of yarn. They carry Bernat, Karen, Doris, Spinrite, Deborah Norville, Lily, like the sugars and cream, Fashion Plus, Lion Brand, Loops and Thread, Patons, Premier, lots to choose from. And Red Heart. They also carry Red Heart. So those are some sales over there. Create for Less has, in their clearance section, they have up to 70% off some of the items over in the clearance section. Hobium Yarn is always very discounted. It's always at least about 40% off. Knit Crate offers you 20% off your first subscription box, but you must use the coupon code KCreations20. Knit Picks, they always have a 20% off yarn of the month. This month it is their Gloss brand yarn. The Gloss brand comes in lace weight, fingering, and DK, and it's probably extremely soft because it's 70% merino and 30% silk. So those sales are going on, and Lion brand is offering up to 35% off of their wool yarns. So that is worth checking out. Now I'm going to insert our giveaway. We've had our giveaway running this entire week. I'm actually filming on Thursday night, but I ran the giveaway until Friday. So the segment I'm going to stick in, you'll notice I'm dressed different because when you're seeing the segment, it's actually Friday. So I'm going to insert that with the winner. Well, it is Friday night, and it is time to draw the name for our pattern winner. So we had 83 entries, and I am going to be using random.org in order to choose a winner. And I have like all of your names listed here. All right, the winner is number 33, and number 33 is Sharon Quinn. So congratulations, Sharon. If you would contact me either over on Ravelry, or you can contact me at Katrinascreations@yahoo.com. Let me know which patterns you would like. You can choose as many patterns as you can do, up to $8. And let me know, and I will get those gifted right over to you. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Congratulations, Sharon. And last of all, I thought I would tell you what this is I'm wearing. It's extremely soft. I do not remember the name of the pattern. I will put it someplace up here on the screen. This is a crescent-shaped shawl. And this is probably one of my favorites because it's long enough, and it's quite long. It's my entire wingspan, so it's at least about 6 feet. I can drape it around my shoulders, or I can wear it around my neck, and it has plenty to hang over the sides. And because it's relatively short, you can see it's just over my shoulders. The yarn in this, I loved it. It was, I forget the name of it or anything. It's been several years since I made this, but the colors in it, it looks like it's gray, but it's not. It's the color of sea glass. It really does look like it's gray in here, but it's like a real light mint green, and then it goes through. This section here is kind of a light pearly gray, and then it goes to kind of a real pale yellow, and then it kind of goes again through some grays and back into this kind of minty green. It's just a real soft, delicate color. And then it has these like little baubles on it. So it's, like I said, it's a crescent shawl. It's very easy to wear. It's very versatile, and it's extremely soft. It's also very warm. So, yeah, I will put the name of what this is. But yes, that's my shawl that I'm wearing today. And that is it for this week. Make sure you stay tuned on Wednesday for the How to Knit 2 Socks at One Time video. And the winner, please contact me. You will have 1 week to get in touch with me, and I will let you can pick out the patterns that you want, up to $8, and you can let me know what you want, and I will gift them over to you. So that is it for episode 119. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful week.